Welcome, Dr. Roberto Mixco, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Glad to have you on. We're going to be talking about your work today. You are a certified neurologist, and I just want to get straight into it. What got you into the field of neurology, and what is a neurologist?
Well, when I was doing anatomy in the first few years of medicine, and we started doing this section in the brain and the spinal cord, I just got interested, since then, because it was so complicated, I feel like this is interesting. So since then, I started getting interested in neurology. So you say the second question, what is a neurologist? Well, it's a specialized physician who will deal with issues with the brain, like a Parkinson, dementia, the stroke, migraines, your regular headaches. We also deal with problems with the spine. People could have a sciatic problem, could have a carpal tunnel, could have a facial paralysis like a Bell palsy, problem with your vision, seeing double. Everything involves the brain or the spinal cord and the nerves, because we also are involved with the nerves issues. Like somebody with peripheral neuropathy who has diabetes can develop numbness and tingling in the legs, and that can give you something is called neuropathy. That can affect your balance.
How long have you been a neurologist?
33, 34 years.
Okay, we're going to have a great conversation because one of the questions I want to begin with is when you began work, right? 30 plus years ago, what was the state of the human mind? Were people suffering from more Parkinson's then, dementia then, or are you starting to see an uptick today? Or is it very similar to what it was 30 plus years ago?
No, things has changed because technology has improved. So easy to pick up diseases that we are not able to pick up, like a multiple sclerosis. We have a MRIs of the brain that can give you more detail about this. Before you have just CAT scan. When I started my training, we already had the first MRI, but when I was in medicine and doing internal medicine in my country, we didn't have CAT scan. That was 1979. So I came to the United States, started my training here, but it's a tremendous change because in the past, neurology was famous for making the diagnosis and watch what happened they do, because just watching the people see what happened to them, how they progress was terrible. But now we can have ammunition, we have stuff to do, we can help them. Either it's Parkinson, it's multiple sclerosis. When I came to practice neurology, we have basically a steroid for multiple sclerosis. And then we have a first medication like a 5 year later, and then another one. We have like a 33 right now. There's so much medication for multiple sclerosis. So it's not like in the past when you get disabled, you have MS. Now it's not like that. You get early, you've been treated. Parkinson have multiple ways to help them, even some brain surgery. It's a new technology called focus ultrasound that can help to treat tremors, Parkinson. This new technology that's applied frequencies to the brain that can make some changes in the brain and improve your tremors. Yes, it's a big change. It's a stroke, especially. When I came, you have a stroke, a baby aspirin, that's it. Physical therapy, and God bless you, because that's it. Now we have tremendous changes in the way we deal with the stroke. So neurology has two specialties now. Some neurologists deal with Parkinson, deal with multiple sclerosis. Some neurologists deal with stroke, even with just migraines. So medicine is changing in all categories, in cardiology, in neurosurgery. You have neurosurgeons specialized just in difficult brain tumors. It's amazing time to be right now practicing medicine.
Yeah, we look at certain diseases or ailments like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. Are those more genetic? Because if we look at a stroke, I mean, you could be young, have a stroke because you are on heavy drugs or maybe doing alcohol, where that might not be as genetic as if you developed Alzheimer's, but anyone can develop an illness similar to cancer. But when we look at the genetics of the body, have those started to change and evolve, maybe because of the foods that we eat, that now we start to see more of this more readily.
Yes. Well, what happened is, for example, a stroke. You had diabetes that is genetic or can be familiar role in your family, then that's a risk factor for the stroke because you have diabetes that run in your family. You see, so not necessarily the stroke is a gene for the stroke, but it's a gene for the factor that trigger or can produce the stroke, like hypertension or diabetes. And dementia, the same thing for Alzheimer's. There's some they have familiar Alzheimer, have a gene. So we can type the type of gene that you have and increase the chances of not to have Alzheimer's. The same thing with Parkinson. So some particular patient with Parkinson is familiar Parkinson, wrong in the families, but not everybody with Parkinson is familiar. And it's a distinction between genetic and familiar. Genetic means when really wrong in your genes, but familiar when keep running in the families. But you could have, by example, somebody get pregnant, get a virus, and then tweak the gene, and that person could develop one particular illness, but it doesn't run in the family, just run in him, and that won't her, you know. So it's a little different.
Very interesting how times are becoming, like with more technology, and we have all of these devices that make our life easier, but then they can also make our life, I guess, maybe more difficult in the terms of have too much screen time because our body wasn't used to getting all of this blue light that we
Right.
get from our phones.
Microwaves, all the stuff. At the same time, we need take advantage of nature, good food, good nutrition, even believe in meditation. That kind of stuff is really good and to be positive. That's very important to check yourself every morning or whenever you have time. It's not just pills or injection, it's also what you can do for yourself to improve, exercise, good night's sleep, good nutrition, socialize, all that's very important. Very, very important.
And you say like if you have time, but many people are living their life full scheduled. So that means they have a full schedule every single day. They wake up, they go on their smartphone, they go to work, they go on their smartphone, they come home, they watch TV, and then they go on their smartphone. We are busy even though we have time. And many people, they don't realize that when they're looking at these screens for a long time or they're hunched over because they're working from home now because they can work remote, they're starting to get these migraines now. My sister is currently suffering from a migraine as we speak because she had a cold and then the cold kind of led to a migraine. But, a cold can definitely do that, but it could be the habits, the foods we eat, how much self-care we are going to be doing. Are we being well? And then, of course, how much we're working. Are we sleeping properly? There are so many aspects to migraines. If you would, can we start to dissect the root cause to some migraines or to the majority of migraines, and then how people can start to mitigate that or heal from it?
Well, migraine is one of the conditions that has familiar tendencies. So I have migraine, my mom has migraine, my dad was migraine, my kid has migraine, so it's wrong in the families. So you need to look for the triggers. It could be a sinus problem, could be a TMJ problem, could be arthritis in your neck, could be because you didn't sleep properly every night, could be because you eat the wrong foods. I mean, food, my wife cannot eat, for example, chocolate because they develop migraines. Some people drink red wine and get a migraine. So you have to look laundry products, wherever you eat, wherever you touch, that can trigger a migraine. That's the first step for migraine because I see migraines patient every day and say, listen, you need to look for the triggers. Changing weather. We are in Florida. The weather changes every 5 minutes, so can have problem with migraines. Now, you make a point about people getting busy. You have to make the time. You need something really bad, you need to make the time. A few years ago, I was really busy taking call in the hospital, doing rounds. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, I was running, preparing for a half marathon or a full marathon because we made the time. It was a lot of fun. So you had to make the time. Stop too much on your cell phone, too much on an iPad. Dedicate time for yourself.
Then we get into the spine because you said you also do work with the spine, right? I was talking about this, I don't even know how long ago on the podcast, where I was going past a bus stop and the kids are waiting for the bus, and I'm going to the gym, and all the kids are looking down on their phone like this, and their head is all the way down. And so their neck is like bent. And if you ever see just like a herd of students like walking out from school, if you're ever like, because we live by a school, and whenever school ends, they come out, the buses, the parents pick them out. You can see most of the kids, they're looking down.
The big backpack.
Yeah, they're
I mean,
looking
they use
down.
a big backpack. I mean, they can affect your, yeah, good posture is very important. When you sit in front of the TV, in front of at work, you need to sit properly. So economic is very important, yes.
There was an issue when I was growing up because the books were very heavy, right? We had thick textbooks. And it was to give us as much information as possible. Yet today is every more digital. So people can have a Kindle or an iPad and all the information is on there. So they don't necessarily have to break their back with a lot of heavy books like we did. But they're doing the opposite. Now they have the ability to have light backpacks so they don't have to worry about back pain. But they're doing that phone thing where they're always looking down on their phone. And so can you see already in your work that more people are coming in with a spine that is slanted forward and not in the correct position?
Know that, but I guess that clearly could happen. You do for a long time because when you are young, probably you can do more for your spine, more damage, I mean more heavy work with not too much problem because you are young. But when you get older, then you get more trouble. But yes, that could happen. You know, we've seen new illness coming along in medicine.
What are some of those new illnesses that you're seeing?
By example, migraine, by example. It depends how much you spend time in the front of the computer can give you migraines. I have a sister who was a computer engineer. I spent so much time. She damaged her eye, developed some condition that required surgery called keraton, something like this. And since then, she barely uses a computer now because the use of computer affect her vision. So yes, I have to be careful.
We're living in a catch-22 where we have to be relevant with the technology and we are trying to live life the fastest we can. So think of it as I want to do so much, right? We have our new generation. So think of like the younger kids. They want to retire early. They don't necessarily want to work. They just want to have fun, go explore the world, not have too many responsibilities. Some might settle down for a career, but the majority of them are trying to retire early. That's just the idea of they don't want to work or they want to be able to work for themselves. The whole aspect is financial freedom, though. We look at that aspect to life. And I wanted to get into a hypothetical conversation now because this is going to be a meaning conversation because I'm sure when you were growing up, right, they talking about you work until you're 65 and then you retire. But yet today we're starting to have the mindset of we're going to retire early. Do you foresee that that could be an issue if people don't give themselves a purpose to live? Because I'm sure you see many people who give up because they have this ailment, right? So they have Parkinson's. I'll never be the same. They give up on life. They give up eating well. They give up exercising. They have a migraine, so they give up going outside anymore. They give up all the things they love. Do you see that there could be a bigger issue if people don't find purpose in what they are doing?
Yes, I've seen people need guidance either in the school or at home with your family because that when you get your guidance from your family and from the school, you know. I guess so the teacher has a big job to do trying to guide these students, these young brains, you know, prepare for the future. But you are right, you know, technology is too inviting, you know, it can be addictive.
It does make your job easier though, because you said when you first started it was children's aspirin and good luck, get some rest. But today we have so many more tools, and the medical industry kind of gets a bad rap for this, where now they have the ability to prescribe so many other alternatives, drugs, things along those lines. I know you don't work with depression, but just think of it as you can give someone depression meds. Doctors will do that more readily than say, okay, in order for you to get out of this situation, you have to do everything that's going to make you well. Not so much of giving them a prescription, but giving them advice to living a better lifestyle. Think of it as if we took away all the technology, all the prescriptions, would we be in a better place today?
Yes, bro, it's a tough question because, you know,
Confusing too.
yeah, it's confusing because technology in the right way can be very helpful. There's no question about it. But we cannot practice medicine without forgetting our roots, I guess. And when I was growing up, we didn't have cell phone. That didn't exist, you know. You go outside in the park, play basketball with your friends, you know, that's it, play soccer. But no iPad, no nothing like that. Nothing. I mean, that's even we didn't have even color TV, that's black and white TV. We watch the World Series and by radio, just by radio. We didn't have no TV watching the games. Everything has changed. Now you have a huge TV in front of you and watch a game that, can see four games at the same time.
Mhm. This is, life where it evolves. And we do have to look at, well, if we see that life is evolving this way and we can start to mitigate things like our bad health ailments coming our way, like again, migraines, Parkinson's, again, like I'm sure there's going to be ways where you can mitigate it to some degree similar to diabetes. If you have diabetes in your family, you're not going to probably want to eat a bunch of sugar. But, like even if you do eat some sugar or you don't eat any sugar, there is the possibility that you can develop it. So there's always the chance you can develop it, but then there's the aspect you can do things to make your life better. And the aspect to health, many people they don't necessarily look at their health until something is broken.
Yeah, and that's terrible.
They wait until they get that doctor's note, from you. They say, "Hey, Dr. Mixco, I'm not feeling well." And then, well, the reason why you're not feeling well, you tell them is because of this, because they have been doing X, Y, and Z consistently over a long period of time. And even if we tell them, "Hey, you need to be careful not to eat too much sugar, to, go out, meditate, as you said, have some level of fitness," people, it's kind of like one ear, you know, and then out the other. It's like they know what they have to do, but they don't do it. Why do you think people wait to go into your office to get bad news from you instead of taking action today?
I don't know, you can call like a little bit of laziness. I mean, it's too much comfort, you don't want to have an effort, you don't have the ethics to work in other direction, like a prevented good food. There's good food out there. I mean, all these companies they want to sell you the food that they have, all the fast food, but you are the one who decided to look for the best food. Best food can help you to prevent cancer, can help you to decrease the chances to have cancer, decrease the chances to have Parkinson. Anybody with Parkinson, they have to take some special vitamins to be sure that help them. Lack of vitamin B12 can give you a lot of issues, memory problems, numbness in your legs. Good nutrition is really important. I mean, but as I mentioned before, guidance, you need guidance from your family, guidance from your school, hopefully from the government.
Mhm. And today, like our conversation is definitely the guidance part for helping people understand more about their health and their wellness and what could be possible if they don't take care of themselves today. But our school system and even parents don't necessarily speak about this. Like my parents never talked to me about, being healthy and making sure I'm eating the right foods because they gave me ham and cheese sandwiches and they gave me jello and they gave me fruit snacks, foods that are not good for you. But that was the lifestyle. And many children are having that lifestyle today where they're eating all of these junk food, they're getting their processed foods. And I mean, we probably have more processed foods today than ever in history. And it's because it has become the norm. If you're ever hungry, you go get some ramen noodles, you get some Doritos, you get something quick. It's not about cooking good food anymore. And it's not about giving ourselves good education for how to eat healthy. So people don't even know that, oh, I'm gonna go to McDonald's and I'm gonna go get a hamburger and I'm gonna get French fries and I'm gonna get a salad. And they think just because they got a salad that they're being healthy, where they're doing a
The
lot of
definition of
bad things,
healthy is amazing.
doing a lot of bad things in their life, but they're not focusing on the good stuff only.
This is sad, have the wrong concept. I have patient who said, Dr. Misko, I'm very healthy, until I had this accident, Yeah, but you said you weigh 290 pounds, and you think you're healthy. They think they're healthy, even they're 100 pounds overweight. I mean, it's
Interesting.
amazing. In their mind, they were healthy until they had the car accident. The concept of healthy has changed, I guess.
Are you familiar with the body positive movement?
Not exactly, maybe, I'm not sure.
I can tell you. So the body positivity movement is a movement. It's not necessarily only for women, but it is predominantly women with this mindset where they're saying that no matter their size, they're big and beautiful, right? They're beautiful regardless of their size. So if they're 300 pounds obese, it doesn't matter. They're beautiful still. It takes away some accountability from them to take action. Because if we go back to the 90s, like around the 90s, when you looked at like a swimsuit, Illustrate magazine or models, they were in shape, they were slender. And then now, if you go to a box store, a clothing store, whatever, you see mannequins that are plus size. They're making it more apparent to people that it's okay to be a little bit overweight. And that's why we have that the body positivity movement, because they're just saying it's okay, you can stay exactly how you are. That mindset is stopping people from changing and getting more healthy because they don't see it.
I see. So you see, this is like a negative thing because they want to tell them that being overweight is okay.
Well, I just wanted your take on it. Like, what do you foresee that doing to people? Because if we look at the obesity, just a couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago, women finally surpassed men over the age of 45 being obese. 42.3%, I believe, is around the number of women over the age 45 are obese. And 38 point something, I think 6% of men are obese over the age of 45. We can see the numbers going up for women or a lot more quickly because of the body positivity movement versus the men. We are held by different standards. We don't necessarily have the body positivity movement. If we are big and we're fat, we get made fun of.
Yeah, that's right. I see your point. Obesity is an epidemic in this country. I mean, it's epidemic. You go to you have the chance to go in another countries in Europe, but people are less obese than here. I don't know, they walk more, they eat better, they're more relaxed, less stress. Yeah, but epidemic is obesity is epidemic in this country.
Mhm.
Anything that can help to improve that is a plus. No question about that.
So, would you say that a larger amount of, no pun intended, of your clients coming in today versus 30 years ago are overweight and obese?
Yes.
Would you say there's a correlation to being obese and then having more illnesses readily come into your life?
Yes. Yes, I guess the TV influence eating more, go eating junk food and other stuff. The difference, yes. There was no fast food basically. I didn't live in that time, but in my country, the same thing happened down here. I mean, I am from El Salvador, so over there everybody has the same thing: a cell phone, an iPad, TV, the same thing. It influences you to eat, the best way. So yes, that does increase the chance to have more problem when you are older.
If you can go back, 30 years or 30 plus years from when you started, and if you can give a message to the world, to the health organizations, CDC, whoever, right, that you can give them advice before we got to where we are today, where we have rampant obesity, rampant ailments in people, whether it be Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, migraines. What would you advise them to start to do and implement?
I think we all have the responsibility, either you're a teacher or parent or work for the government or work in a special organization, to try to teach better health, better nutrition in all directions. I mean, it's not just people in the government. Everybody should have the responsibility to teach. Even you have a younger brother, even you have a young niece, or to teach them one by one. Everybody has that responsibility. We should get together and be that effort.
Mhm. What would be some of the first things that you teach them? Would it be like nutrition, like your foods, or would it be more of like the mind and the body?
Because I didn't study here in this country when I was in high school or elementary school, so I don't know why they teach that here. But they should focus on good health, how to prevent good health, and that will be the nutrition, more I guess education about your own body to know how the thing work, and education the biggest problem we have. They should know what is diabetes, how bad diabetes can affect your eye, can affect your heart, can affect your heart. Hypertension, the same thing. So the two biggest enemies in this country are hypertension and diabetes. So
Very
that's
true.
something that everybody, young kids should know about that. So you start thinking in your own future.
When I was in high school, we had a personal wellness class. And in the class, we would talk about nutrition. We would talk about the different things. Like if you did smoking, they have pictures of the lungs, what would happen to the lungs, and also like certain things like diabetes, cancers. They'll show you pictures. But the thing about that is, it was only for like half a semester, so about 9 weeks or something like that. And that was it. Like you only had to do it one time in high school, and not every high school does it.
That's a great idea. I mean, I hope so they school do that.
And so, like every single year, I think would be a better option than just to have it once for your whole 4 years in high school that you have to take a personal wellness class, like to make it important, just how we make reading and writing and math important. We should do that to like our education for wellness.
It will be easy to get good score too. Yes, a wellness class, that will be great.
And that's going to mitigate a lot of the things that happen later on in life.
The burden for the whole country, the whole society. Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
Then we should be start the fight.
And that is definitely the goal, to get people in a better mindset, better bodies, better health, to live a better, fuller life. Because a lot of people, they wait to truly live. They give themselves an idea that they'll do it later. But when they're a little bit older, they start to get these, back problems or neck problems, or they're not able to do things like they used to do. And it stops them from finding true happiness in their life because they see their life for what it was rather than what it is right now or what it could have been if they only gave some attention to themselves. There is a whole issue, especially here in America, where we do have to provide more education for individuals to get into a better physical and mental wellness. As we begin to wrap up, I would love to get some final words from you so you could talk about anything you would like. And then for you to tell the audience where they can find you, look up what you have done, if you have a website or social media, anything would be great.
I would like to do is talk a little bit about stroke because that one, the reason to talk to you is talk about a book or a little manual I wrote. About 800,000 people in the United States have a stroke every year, almost 1 million, 800,000. And about 300,000 has problem with the speech. They cannot express themselves. Most of them really eventually get better after 2, 3 months with speech therapy, physical therapy get better. But about 50 to 60,000 people never ever able to talk again ever, and that cannot write neither. So these people are really in a big problem because they cannot communicate. So you go to the hospital, you see all these doctors, all the neurologists, you get the CAT scan, the physical therapist. After a week, they send you to a rehab center, and the rehab center one more time, speech therapy, physical therapist, but you're never able to talk. Then you go home. So at home, the family doesn't know what to do with you because your grandpa is always cranky, sitting in front of the sofa watching TV, and you don't know how to communicate with them. You ask with yes and no question. Are you hungry? Say no. Are you upset? No. You need to go to the bathroom? No. But you don't know what they want because they cannot tell you what they want. So what happened after a few weeks, the patient gave up. A few more weeks, the family gave up. And then you had a piece of furniture in the house. So this is about 50,000 people every year in this country that have that situation. So I had the idea to make a difference for that. Design it, maybe a little book that I can show you here. I don't know if you can see well, but anyway, okay, I can see it from there. So this book is like a little manual. I had the idea to use sign language, but only using one hand. Because when you have the real sign language, use both hands. But these people are paralyzed one side. They cannot use one side, and they cannot talk. So I decided to use like a little manual in which you can use one hand to communicate, to connect with your family. Because you can tell what you want. You need to go to the bathroom, you just put your finger like this. I mean, I need to go to the bathroom. Because you still has one hand, you can communicate with one hand. So this is the basis to open the communication back in your family with your friends. And everybody can learn this 100 signs I have in this book in 3 or 4 weeks. The little book is about 100 pages, black and white, also in color. It's an ebook. It's in Amazon. I think if they reach to the right people, the speech therapists, nurses, nursing home, physician, and everybody, because almost everybody knows anybody has a stroke. So hopefully, eventually, this book can make a difference in a lot of people. I know they already make a difference in some of them. I see that here in my office. So that's the reason I was going to use this few minutes for that. I appreciate your time, and I have a website. It's very simple to go. Just drrobertomixco.com. That's basically what it is. And then you can get to my website in which tell you a little more when I study, how long you've been in this country, and so on. And really appreciate all your questions because, yeah, we need to make a difference. Everybody has to take responsibility. And you have a great show, sir. This is really great. I listen to podcasts. Really nice.
I saved stroke for last because I knew the work that you did, and I wanted to end on the note of I'm going to be putting that book in the description box below so people can easily find it. If they have a family member that has suffered from a stroke, they can get the ebook, they can go to Amazon, they can get this book for them so they can begin to, give them some hope and some help because when you're healing from a stroke, my father had a stroke because he kept drinking alcohol, but he was able to do almost a full recovery. He was fortunate. But there's going to be people who are going to be struggling, and any help that they can get is going to give them a better mindset. It's going to give them a better mentality to heal and get better because when they are trying to recover from this, there are going to be limitations. But one of the biggest limitations is themselves and their mind because if they give up because they can't do the same things that they used to do, it's going to be, like you said, they're just going to be a piece of furniture in the house. And we don't want that for them. I appreciate the work that you do. And I appreciate you coming on and talking about all of the nuances of the new world where it comes to our technologies and our health. And then also, writing the book and helping people who are suffering from stroke or who have suffered from stroke. As always, I want to thank you, Dr. Roberto Mixco, for coming on and spending some time with us today.
Thank you, sir. Have a great time talking to you.